Lesson 10 for August 31 through to September 6, Living the Gospel, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Wednesday, September 4, Our Common Humanity. By his ministry and teaching, Jesus urged a radical inclusiveness. All who sought his attention with honest motives, whether women with bad reputations, tax collectors, lepers, Samaritans, Roman centurions, religious leaders, or children, he welcomed with genuine warmth and care. As the early church was to discover in transformative ways, this included the offer of the gift of salvation. As the first believers slowly recognized the inclusiveness of the gospel, they were not merely adding good works for others onto their faith as a nice thing to do. It was core to their understanding of the gospel, as they had experienced it in the life, ministry, and death of Jesus. As they wrestled with the issues and questions that arose, first individually for leaders such as Paul and Peter, then as a church body at the Jerusalem Council. We're asked to have a look at Acts chapter 10, verses 9 through 20. The next day, as they went on their journey and drew near the city, Peter went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. Then he became very hungry and wanted to eat. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven opened and an object like a great sheet, bound at the four corners, descending to him and let down to the earth. In it were all kinds of four-footed animals of the earth, wild beasts, creeping things, and birds of the air. And a voice came to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." But Peter said, "Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything common or unclean." And a voice spoke to him again the second time, "What God has cleansed, you must not call common." This was done 3 times, and the object was taken up into heaven again. Now, while Peter wondered within himself what this vision which he had seen meant, behold, the men who had been sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate. And they called and asked whether Simon, whose surname was Peter, was lodging there. While Peter thought about the vision, the Spirit said to him, "Behold, 3 men are seeking you. Arise, therefore, go down and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them." And Acts chapter 15. We looked at the Jerusalem Council last week on Thursday, and we looked at the changes that some people were trying to make, which was taking people back to the customs of the Israelite society, rather than the customs of the Christian society. And so the Jerusalem Council was called, and the leaders came together and decided on a way to benefit those who'd come from outside of Israel, those who'd come as Gentiles, and were able to find a way to express their Christianity without rules and regulations that were not meant to be there. Then they began to realize the dramatic shift this good news had brought into their understanding of God's love and inclusiveness, and how that should be lived out in the lives of those who profess to follow him. Question: what do each of the following texts teach us about our common humanity? How should each idea influence our attitude toward others? Malachi 2 and verse 10. Have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously with one another by profaning the covenant of the fathers? And Acts 17 verse 26. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on all the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings. And Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And Galatians 3:28, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Galatians 3:28, the one we've just read, is a theological summary of the practical story Jesus told about the Good Samaritan. Rather than arguing about whom we are obligated to serve, just go and serve, and perhaps even be prepared to be served by those we might not expect to serve us. The common element of the global human family is realized at a higher level in the common family of those who are bound together by the gospel, by the saving love of God that calls us to oneness in Him. For as it says in 1 Corinthians 12:13, "For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free." You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.